Welcome back. Well, it is the day after the Third Mutual monthly meeting, and we have on the board president, Mike Straziuso. Nice to have you here today.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's, I talked about there's a little bit of rain possibly in the forecast over the next few days. We always need water, it seems. However, on the flip side, we always want to conserve the water that we use. And yesterday, that was one of the topics that you talked about, and you gave some very interesting statistics about how when water is wasted, how big of an effect it can actually have.
Yes. The statistic that really jumps out is the Tier 3 and Tier 4 pricing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Tier 1 is in the $2 range, and then Tier 2 is irrigation. Tier 3 is over consumption.
Right.
Each meter is given a budget, and that budget is Tier 1.
Right.
When you exceed that budget, you go into Tier 3 in residential. And when you exceed the budget for Tier 3, it goes into Tier 4. In 10 months, we have been charged $160,000 excess water usage.
Wow.
$16,000 a month. We have been trying to convince the El Toro Water District that we should be treated as one single customer, not 930 meters.
Right. And they look at it right now as individual meters.
As an individual.
So by looking at possibly as a whole, there could be a savings there instead of maybe is a community as a whole could be below.
Yes.
Yeah.
The community as a whole would be in Tier 1 and Tier 2.
Right.
The $160,000 would not go away. It would be reduced to $2 instead of $4 and $6.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's remarkable to track these numbers. Our indoor billing for the first 10 months was $494,000. Our irrigation for the first 10 months is unbelievable, $903,000. But it's beautiful, it's green.
Yeah.
And then that Tier 3 of $93,000 and Tier 4 of $67,000. But the combined Tier 3 and Tier 4 is $160,000.
Right, yeah.
In tracking it meter by meter, and we get a 15-page bill from El Toro Water District identifying every meter and its usage. I live in a 22-unit building. We have a single meter.
Right.
Gate 11, single family detached. Each building has a meter. And one meter, as I pointed out yesterday,
yes,
had a $1,400 bill in 1 month, followed by a $1,200 bill. And God bless the family, they noticed that the water was running nonstop on their toilets. And they had the toilets replaced, and the monthly charge dropped to $100.
Right. That's amazing just for the toilets.
And the moral of the story, please, if you hear your toilet running, not because you flushed it, because it decides to refill the tank, that flapper in the tank needs to be replaced.
Right, and you're talking about $3.
Yes.
And very easy to do.
Yes. And what it's costing the association, because we are on a shared cost concept. We all paid that $1,400 for that single manor in the month of April.
Yeah, exactly.
Please call. Please, we'll be happy to replace the flapper and take away these excessive overcharges.
Yeah, exactly. And it was good that, at least in this case, it was identifiable, unlike a building that has several, like where you live, you have several residences. It's much more difficult to identify. You can look at the building as a whole and say, wow, this building is really going over the level, but then you have to try and figure out, is it multiple residents that are having a problem? Is it just one? At least fortunately, this was a single family one, so it was easy to figure out.
Yes, we are toying with the idea of sending a letter to every unit in a multi-unit when they go into Tier 3 and Tier 4, suggesting that they take note of running water, inappropriate.
Right.
And we'd be happy to come out and inspect. The idea was put forth a year ago, no action on it. It's coming to the surface again, and it's a question of intrusion on their privacy. Where's the fine line?
Right, but it's something to be aware of, and
We had a monumental election at GRF. May I
of course,
mention
yes, you may.
the turnover in the GRF board? Two of the sitting board members termed out. That means two back-to-back 3-year terms. Ray Gross and Ken Hammer, both of them ran for the, in Ken's case, United Board and was elected. So he's now on, and Ray Gross ran for Third Mutual Board and got elected, and he's now seated on Third Mutual Board. Patrick Murphy was the treasurer, and Patrick did not run for another term.
Right.
But the president, Lynn Dvorak, who is a great lady and left a legacy bar none, ran and was not reelected. And it's devastating to me. I know it's devastating to her that she was not reelected because she had a lot of unfinished business. She's a brilliant lady. I hope that she will run again in 2014. What a legacy.
Yeah, she was very nice coming on here as well.
The new officers for the new members elected to the board, and by the way, they were elected by the 27 corporate members, the directors of the, and the new members are Richard Palmer, who got more votes than anybody, Mary Stone, formerly on United, Carol Moore, formerly on Third Mutual, and Margaret Klein, who has a wealth of experience on Wall Street, but it's her first exposure as a board member in the community. Larry Souza was elected president, and Pat Feeney, first vice president. Linda Wilson, secretary, and Heather Gerson, treasurer. The Globe not this week, I'm sorry, not last week, but the week before, last week, had headlines, United renews pledge to foster positive community image. And in their pledge, they say, we want to work with our sister corporations. And I'm here to say, United, our arms are open. Let's work together.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday at the meeting as well.
Truly.
One thing you talked about yesterday, one of the subjects, and I can see it's on your list here, because it's a new committee, Communications Committee. And you talked about, I think there might have been from what I understand, the formation of the charter. However, that might be looked at again, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a public relations department.
Right.
Wendy Bucknam, terrific lady, very active in the outside trade organizations.
Mm-hmm.
She tracks legislation on a state basis and on a federal basis and reports. I sat down with Wendy and said, Communications Committee, let's create a charter for them. And she collaborated with Jerry Storage, created the charter, and the board presented with the charter went, I think we need to tweak it a bit here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So after identifying the 5 members of the Communication Committee, we referred the charter to the committee.
Right.
To put their imprimatur on it. They are the ones who will need to abide by it, so let them revise it to their liking.
And somebody asked yesterday, can this committee start up without a charter? And you said, yes, they can.
Sure.
Yeah.
There have been committees, ad hoc, without a charter.
Right.
And we've decided this is a standing committee. They will, first piece of business is to establish their charter, okay? Easy.
Yeah.
I may have exceeded my authority, but who's going to tell me?
All right. So that they'll go ahead and do that, and then at the next meeting, they will present that to you if it's ready to be presented.
It'll be on the agenda
Okay.
next month, absolutely.
A lot of unfinished business, and you actually, when someone mentioned yesterday, when they first got the agenda, they thought that the meeting could end up taking like 4 hours, and it didn't. It took 2 hours and 20 minutes, and there was a lot of unfinished business, but it went through quite quickly. I think 3 of the items had to do with alteration standards on satellite dishes. You have to do for each one, the 1, 2, and 3-story buildings. If there's a 4-story building, you probably have to have another one, but you had 3 of those as separate alteration standards.
I haven't seen any 4-story.
No. And those went through quite quickly, actually. Talked about lien enforcement policy and procedure for assessment delinquencies, vacant manor inspection policy. You brought that up as well.
There's a dilemma that we have, and that's a privacy issue. Are we legally permitted to enter a manor without the owner's permission? What constitutes an emergency that
Right.
you would enter a manor? The manor below has water running
Right.
down the wall, and it's a empty manor above, or let's see, I think we have some snowbirds.
Right, yeah.
And if it's not occupied. So the struggle, and our attorney, God bless him, was there helping us work through that process. And it is not completed yet. So
Okay.
it's one of those that'll be on next month's unfinished business.
All right, very good. We're just about out of time. Anything else you'd like to add? I know you talked about election rules a little bit, and there was a net surplus in operations of about $424,000, which is nice.
Yes.
Very good.
Hank is the new finance director, doing a terrific job. He was mentored by Rachel last year, and he's folded into that position with flying colors.
Yes, I think he'll do quite well.
It helps if you listen, though. He did misspeak on one statistic, and the presiding officer caught it and corrected it. There was a 49% statistic repeated in two categories. It was a 36% for GRF and a 49% for Third Mutual.
All right, very good. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I have to mention, I know you didn't want me to, but look at this nice bow tie that Mike gave me today, Mike and his wife. Very nice. And I said today this would go perfect. Look at that. Let's see, with what I'm wearing right now, wouldn't it? Thank you very much.
Okay.
You didn't have to do that. That's wonderful.
No,
and,
you do.
I will appreciate it.
You do such a terrific job, and you are appreciated.
Thank you very much. You take care. Have a good Thanksgiving. I won't see you before unless you're the person coming on for third on Monday.
No, I'm not.
Okay, then have a good turkey
You do
day.
as well in your family.
All right, thank you. We'll be back in just a moment.